通顺街呀，想当初都是一铺难求啊。
Tongshun Street, back in the day, it was impossible to find a shop here. But now look at this shop, this big restaurant. This is all real money thrown in. How many thousands are gone again? 2 shops in a row. Oh my gosh, this business is tough. Oh my god.
Tongshun Street is a famous commercial street in Harbin, Heilongjiang Province. 5 years ago, it was nearly impossible to find a shop to rent. Now, nearly every shop on the street has either shut down or is struggling. Some local residents say the next step is for the entire street to be leased out.
Harbin 现在真吓人了，你们说说，人到底去哪里了？
Harbin is really scary now. Just think about it. Where have all the people gone? There's no one in the malls, no one on the streets. Now, even the Harbin Street Sophia Church has no one. It's Saturday, and it used to be packed. Now there's no one. I really can't figure it out. Where did all the people go? Did they go to big cities for work, or did they go back to the countryside to retire?
兄弟们，这是周六吗？
Is today Saturday? There's not even a car on the road. These past few days, I've noticed there's no one in Harbin, and there are no cars either. It's really scary. Even Harbin's top mall, Far Eastern Top 1, has no people on weekends. Isn't that scary? Those who could leave have already gone. The ones left in Harbin, well, they can't leave.
Harbin is the capital of Heilongjiang Province and its largest city. For a long time, it was the political, economic, and cultural center of northeast China. It was rich and prosperous, with a large population, earning it the nickname Paris of the East. In early Chinese city rankings, Harbin was on par with first-tier cities like Beijing, Shanghai, and Guangzhou, reflecting its former status and strength. However, as the 21st century progressed, the city's glory gradually faded. Empty streets, closed shops, and deserted communities tell the story of its decline. Population data also reflects Harbin's economic trends. In 2015, the city's population was 10.6 million. By 2020, it had dropped to 10 million, and by 2024, it was further reduced to 9.8 million. Over 10 years, Harbin has lost about 850,000 residents. The significant population decrease in Harbin is due to various reasons. A woman who has lived in Harbin for 30 years offers her analysis.
我在哈尔滨生活了30多年了，今天我发现了
I've lived in Harbin for over 30 years, and I've realized a few harsh truths that young people in Harbin have to accept. First, wages here are really low. Although it's the provincial capital, the average person only makes 3,000 to 5,000 yuan a month. Even after years of hard work, it's tough to buy a house, even if you make over 10,000 yuan a month. Even if you empty the wallets of a family of 6, the down payment is still hard to manage. Second, the cost of living in Harbin is really high. Ordering takeout costs 30 to 40 yuan. Dining out can cost 200 to 300 yuan. It's really hard for young people to save money. Third, over 90% of private companies in Harbin only have 1 day off per week. Fourth, it's extremely hard to make money here. The economy is tough, and many young people are moving to other places for work. Industries here are all really difficult, and surviving is tough, let alone making money.
你知道哈尔滨今年多少人没活可干吗？
Do you know how many people in Harbin don't have jobs this year? Harbin's situation is hard to believe. Aside from that street known as the Little Paris of the East, if you look around other streets, how many thriving shops are up for lease or transfer? And those small businesses in Harbin that used to do well, now they're all shutting down one by one. Even big companies aren't doing any better. They're either laying people off or cutting salaries. Harbin has become a place with low income and high costs. Now, families in Harbin, men, women, and children, everyone has to find a way to make money, or life is really tough. People working at big companies are doing the work of 2 people for 1 salary. It's really exhausting. If you feel tired, you can't quit, but there's always someone else ready to take your place. You don't dare to quit because you're afraid of not finding another job. You have to keep going under this pressure. You work hard for the sake of survival. It feels like everyone is just a tool now.
Young people in Harbin have generally chosen to give up and live a simple life, not getting married or even into relationships.
震惊哈尔滨相亲市场大揭秘，这比例你
Shocking, a big reveal about Harbin's matchmaking market. You won't believe these numbers. The latest data on the matchmaking market will drop your jaw. Can you imagine that only 1 in 10 men in Harbin are interested in finding a partner? I really want to ask the 30-year-old men, what are you really thinking? Some online commenter said, you have to remember, history tells us that Harbin is always ahead of the rest of the country. Soon, the whole country will be like this. Despite how bad things are in Harbin, other areas in Heilongjiang Province are facing even more severe population loss and economic decline. This is especially obvious in small cities and rural areas.
我昨天发一个段子火了，这评论区给我说的。
Now, the population in northeast China is getting smaller and smaller. During the day, you barely see anyone. I thought I'd see more at night, but when I came out tonight, there were even fewer people. It's 8 p.m., and look at this building. How many people are there? Look at the residential buildings. Are there any lights on? Don't tell me people can't afford to turn on the lights at this hour. Now look here. This is the bustling area, and it used to be full of life. How many shops have their lights on? This says something. People are out working for their next meal. This is the situation in northeast China now. It's not just Anda, every city is like this. The woman is filming scenes from Anda Market. Anda, located just 20 kilometers from China's oil capital, once thrived due to the prosperity of the oil industry. However, now Anda is unrecognizable, with empty streets and closed shops signaling the city's decline. Rural areas in Heilongjiang are even worse off.
屯子也都没啥人了，大多数都烟头站岗，锁头把门了。
There are hardly any people left in the villages. Most of them are just chimneys standing guard, doors locked up. The young people have all gone out to work. The people left behind in the villages are mostly the elderly. You see, they're all suffering from leg pain, stiff necks, and after effects of strokes, and many have diabetes. They can only farm a little to barely cover basic living expenses. When the children in the city ask for money to buy cars and houses, they take whatever little money you have left, just leaving you with your life.
30年，就7、20就是空城。
In 30 years, Qiqihar will be a ghost town. How many young people are there now? How many factories are still running in Qiqihar? Every factory is closing down.
哎呀，谁都愿意出去呀。
Well, everyone wants to leave. Honestly, farming doesn't hold much value.
没有一个人希望自己的孩子回到家乡。
No one wants their kids to come back to their hometown. Even now, this land is still not making any money. That's why it can't keep the young people. These farmers work all year for just 1,000 or 2,000 yuan. In spring, they worry about bad seeds. In summer, they worry about flooding from heavy rains or droughts. In the fall, when they have a good harvest, they worry about low prices and not being able to sell.
An online commentator said, Heilongjiang is trapped in a vicious cycle. In the next few decades, it may become deserted. In 20 years, the rural population will have dramatically decreased. People in their 40s or 50s are still considered the young ones in the villages. 10 years ago, the banquet was for weddings. Now the banquets are for funerals. Then the restaurants close down.
这是一个从繁华走向寂静的东北村落。
This is a northeast village that has gone from thriving to silent. There's no internet, no running water, and less than 5 families remain on the land. This little road used to be where villagers gathered for chats after meals, but now it's empty. This T-junction was the village square, and all my happy childhood memories are from playing here with my friends. This is my old house, where my parents got married, and where I was born. It holds decades of memories for our family, but now it's turned into a warehouse. This is my cousin's old house. No one takes care of it, and now it's collapsed. A netizen from Heilongjiang wrote, My hometown is Boli County, Qitaihe City. In 2024, the permanent population is 188,000, which is 11,300 people fewer than 4 years ago. In shopping malls, on the streets, and in the restaurants, there are hardly any people. Everything is empty. Over the past decade, this small city has been losing residents to other places. Last year, there were only about 700 births, but over 1,400 deaths. At this rate, in about a decade, this small city will have no young people left. Another netizen described the situation in a small county in Heilongjiang. Most of the people are gone. During the day, you can't see anyone on the streets. All that's left are the elderly and government workers. Empty houses are everywhere, and everything feels desolate. You can live in a bungalow for free, and you can buy an apartment for the right price. The kindergarten has closed, and several elementary schools have merged. There are barely enough children for even one class, and there are only a few people in the middle and high school classes. This is Heilongjiang, a place abandoned by modernization. The descriptions from these netizens paint a bleak picture, revealing the deep challenges facing the old industrial base of Heilongjiang in the wave of modernization. Population loss, economic decline, and aging infrastructure. These issues are widespread, especially in small cities. Many people have analyzed the situation in Heilongjiang and proposed solutions. A Heilongjiang netizen wrote, Instead of repeatedly chanting slogans like revitalize the old industrial base in northeast China, we should focus on improving the happiness of the people here. How do we do that? Of course, by reducing the government to citizen ratio and implementing a smaller government, allowing administrative power to step back from all economic activities. The current situation in northeast China is a deep aging society, which is something many provinces will face in the future. It would be meaningful to use Northeast China as a pilot project, carefully summarizing lessons on how to handle deep aging societies. According to census data, in 2010, Heilongjiang's permanent population was 38.3 million. Since then, the population has been in continuous decline, especially with the massive outflow of young labor, causing the proportion of the working-age population to decrease year by year, and the population structure is rapidly aging. The population was down to 30.3 million in May 2024, a decrease of over 8 million in 10 years. The elderly population aged 65 and above now accounts for 19.4% of the total population. In some counties, there is an extreme phenomenon where young people under 45 have almost disappeared. Heilongjiang has become one of the provinces with the most severe population loss. Along with population loss, the resource depletion issue is becoming increasingly serious. The coal, oil, and forestry resources that once supported Heilongjiang's economy are now nearly exhausted. Of the 13 prefecture-level cities in Heilongjiang, 11, including Daqing, Yichun, and Hegang, are resource-depleted cities with a single industry, and their economies are in serious decline. For example, the output of Daqing oil field has decreased year by year and is expected to shrink to 10 million tons of crude oil in 2024. A 25% drop over the past 10 years. The once glorious old industrial plants in Shuihua are now just wasteland, and factory closures have led to mass layoffs. Young people lacking employment opportunities have been forced to migrate. The decline of pillar industries has put severe pressure on local finances and employment. In terms of economic indicators, Heilongjiang's GDP has been declining in national rankings, already surpassed by many central and even western provinces. In 2023, the province's GDP was about 1.6 trillion yuan, far lower than its neighboring provinces of Liaoning and Jilin, and is impossible to compare with the coastal economic powerhouses. In terms of GDP per capita, Heilongjiang is also ranked the bottom in the country, even behind traditionally underdeveloped regions like Inner Mongolia and Guangzhou. In 2024, Heilongjiang's GDP per capita was 52,102 yuan, about $7,328. This is half the national average. Moreover, Heilongjiang's local fiscal revenue has sharply shrunk, and local governments rely heavily on central fiscal transfers. In 2022, Heilongjiang's fiscal transfer payments amounted to over 540 billion yuan, accounting for more than 70% of local fiscal revenue, making it one of the provinces most dependent on central subsidies. This fiscal structure has led to a lack of local development, and it's difficult to attract foreign investment, creating a passive economic pattern of waiting for help. Overall, Heilongjiang is caught in a vicious cycle of population decrease, resource depletion, economic shrinkage, fiscal dependency, and weak development. The outflow of young people has led to labor shortages, increasing business costs, further weakening economic vitality. Economic shrinkage has reduced job opportunities, forcing even more people to leave. For example, Hegang, known for its bargain houses, has become a popular city online, revealing the harsh reality of economic stagnation and population loss. Heilongjiang Province once reached its economic peak during the Manchukuo period, the Japanese puppet state in Manchuria lasting from 1932 to 1945. It became one of Asia's rare heavy industry centers, with rapid development in industries such as steel, coal, and chemicals. Harbin also became a major industrial hub. However, this development model, referred to as Japan-Manchukuo integration, was a form of colonial resource exploitation, where large quantities of raw materials were sent to Japan, while high-value-added industries and decision-making powers were controlled by foreign entities, weakening the region's autonomous development. After World War II, the Soviet Union plundered industrial facilities, and following the founding of the People's Republic of China, the Chinese Communist Party forcibly nationalized industries and suppressed the private economy. Although Heilongjiang was designated as a heavy industrial base, the planned economic system became rigid. Since China opened up in the 70s, the national strategic focus has shifted southward. Coastal areas such as the Pearl River Delta and Yangtze River Delta quickly rose due to their geographical advantages, open policies, and foreign investment. Especially after China's entry into the World Trade Organization, regions like Guangdong and Zhejiang set up special economic zones, attracting vast amounts of foreign capital and talent. While these cities became world-class manufacturing hubs, northeast China, despite having abundant resources and a complete industrial system, missed out on this wave of development. From a geopolitical perspective, Heilongjiang borders Russia and North Korea, two countries with limited economic size and weak outward-looking economies. More importantly, the Northeast originally had vast territories facing the Sea of Japan, but in 1999, the CCP signed an agreement acknowledging these territories as part of Russia, completely cutting off Heilongjiang from the Sea of Japan and turning it into a landlocked region. This eliminated the possibility of opening trade routes to the East China Sea. If this hadn't happened, Heilongjiang might have been able to benefit from the economic influence of Japan and South Korea. However, due to geopolitical constraints and short-sighted policies, Heilongjiang missed out on crucial development opportunities. Over the past 30 years, the CCP has repeatedly called for the revitalization of the Northeast, but has failed to establish an industrial system capable of sustaining itself. Commentator Wen Zhao notes that the economy of Northeast China is similar to the passive output terminal during the Manchukuo period, lacking an industrial layout with independent decision-making. The slow pace of state-owned enterprise reform, deteriorating business environments, and excessive administrative interference have all restricted Heilongjiang's economic development. In contrast, southern coastal regions, through market-oriented reforms and international strategies, have formed powerful trade networks and industrial clusters, attracting large numbers of young people and capital, while Heilongjiang has gradually been marginalized in this wave of development. In recent years, China's wolf warrior diplomacy, promoting communist ideology abroad and opposing liberal democracies, has accelerated its decoupling from developed economies. If this trend continues, there's a high possibility that China will repeat the historical mistakes of isolationism. The statement, Heilongjiang's present is China's future, has become a widely accepted consensus.